She's also the first player with at least 35 points and 5 steals in multiple games.
Absolutely, it's been an amazing journey, and like I just told Catch that I would have never thought this early, and in 5 years, not being drafted, in 5 years I'd be an all-star, let alone.
Wilson became the first player in WNBA history to have at least 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 steals in a game.
Erica Wheeler just went off on Indiana Fever fans, and it's getting ugly. After A'ja Wilson posted some frustrated tweets about fan interactions, Wheeler jumped in to defend her, but ended up attacking her own former fan base in the process. You know what's crazy? Wheeler has 24,000 followers who are mostly Fever fans, and she's basically telling them they're being unfair. Is she secretly taking shots at Caitlin Clark's fan base without actually naming her? This drama is exploding right when all eyes are on Indiana for the new season. Let's rewind to what actually kicked off this whole drama. Before Erica Wheeler even entered the picture, A'ja Wilson lit up Twitter with a rant that had the entire WNBA community buzzing. This wasn't just your typical athlete venting, it was the spark that ignited a much bigger fire.
MVP, so for me, I'm still living in the moment of that.
What's going through your mind as shot is falling over and over, 3, 4, 5? What goes through the mind of you when that's happening?
That honor goes to the Las Vegas Aces superstar, A'ja Wilson. I got a soft spot for that girl. She came through for me.
I didn't know that I would make MVP until towards the end, and Candace was like, you need my shirt? Because look, you about to cry. So she ended up giving me her shirt because I started crying. Because that wasn't my goal.
NBA collaborated with Mike Wilbon to rig stuff against me. She was the only one that showed up. I always loved that girl.
Wilson didn't hold back when she took to social media, dropping a series of tweets that laid bare her frustrations with fan interactions. "I can never win with y'all unless it's about ... she wrote, clearly at her breaking point with certain segments of the fan base. But what really got people talking? She followed up by mentioning she'd just sold one of her houses and was celebrating Deposit Day. You know how the internet works. Fans immediately jumped on this as Wilson flexing her wealth during what was essentially a dispute with supporters. Talk about bad timing. Here's a star player essentially saying, "I'm rich, I'm good," while seeming frustrated with the very people who support the league. Not exactly the best look when you're trying to win people over. What makes this situation even more complicated is when it happened. The WNBA is experiencing a massive surge right now. Viewership records are being shattered. Social media engagement is through the roof, and new fans are flooding into the women's basketball space like never before. The spotlight on the W has never been brighter, and that's exactly when Wilson decided to air her grievances. This explosion of popularity should be nothing but good news, right? Well, it's creating an unexpected tension. While the league's growth is amazing for the sport, veterans like Wilson seem increasingly frustrated with all the new attention and the changing dynamics of fan interaction. It's like they were comfortable with the smaller, more dedicated fan base, but now that the audience has exploded, they're struggling to adapt. Wilson made this crystal clear when she talked about wanting to go completely private on social media. She specifically mentioned she would only stay public for podcast and brand deals, basically saying she wants the business benefits without having to deal with regular fan interactions. That's a pretty telling statement about where her head is at. The craziest part? Wilson isn't alone in feeling this way. Several other WNBA veterans have expressed similar frustrations with how the league is changing. There's almost a sense that some established players are resistant to the very growth that could ultimately benefit everyone in the league. It's creating this weird dynamic where some veterans seem annoyed by the very success they've been fighting for. This tension between players and fans was building up like a pressure cooker, and then Erica Wheeler decided to jump into the mix, and that's when things really exploded. Wheeler didn't just quietly support Wilson, she turned it into a full-blown conflict that took the drama to an entirely different level. We'll get into that chaos in a minute, but her reaction amplified what was already a tense situation. What Wilson's Twitter storm really exposed is something deeper than just one player having a bad day online. It revealed a genuine struggle happening right now. WNBA veterans trying to navigate a landscape that's changing faster than anyone expected. Many of these players fought for years for more recognition, more fans, and more attention, but the reality of what that attention actually feels like might be different than what they imagined. But nothing reveals the loyalty crisis in the WNBA, quite like what happened next with Erica Wheeler. Imagine being so beloved by Indiana Fever fans that they donated money to your causes, only to turn around and publicly trash those same supporters on social media. The fallout? Absolutely brutal. Wheeler once enjoyed a special connection with Fever fans during her time in Indiana. With 24,000 Twitter followers, mostly passionate Fever supporters, she had built a solid reputation as a fan favorite. These weren't just casual followers. These were dedicated fans who had followed her career, celebrated her successes, and even opened their wallets to support her personal causes. That's the kind of relationship most players dream about. But all that goodwill went up in flames faster than a paper house in a wildfire. When the A.J. Wilson situation erupted, Wheeler made a choice that shocked her followers. Instead of staying neutral or just staying quiet, she jumped right into the middle of it, publicly backing Wilson with tweets like, "A Wilson door at right, love to see it." But she didn't stop there. Wheeler took it a step further by directly calling out her own Fever fans with the dismissive comment, "Y'all fans are something else." You know what happens when you directly insult your own supporters? They notice, and they respond. Immediately, her mentions exploded with hurt and confused fans. One particularly telling comment summed up what many were feeling. "Loved you, but didn't expect this from you." That's the sound of hearts breaking across Indiana. Did Wheeler recognize the damage she was doing and try to patch things up? Nope. She doubled down harder than a blackjack player with an 11 showing. Her response to the backlash? Haha, people are crazy, I love it though. We are all alive. Literally laughing at the very people who had supported her for years. Talk about a slap in the face. The timing of this meltdown couldn't possibly be worse. All this is happening just as Caitlin Clark is joining the Fever, bringing with her a tsunami of new attention and fans to the franchise. Wheeler never directly mentioned Clark in her posts, but come on, the subtext is crystal clear. She's picking a side in what's rapidly becoming a veteran versus rookie divide across the entire WNBA. Things got even more personal when some previously loyal Wheeler fans actually started demanding refunds on donations they had made to her causes. Think about that for a second. Fans were so hurt and betrayed by her comments that they wanted their charitable contributions back. That's not just unfollowing someone online. That's a complete breakdown of trust. What makes this situation even more fascinating is that Wheeler's departure from the Fever wasn't exactly smooth sailing to begin with. There are reports suggesting it was a business decision where Coach Stephanie White may have let her go. Could this be lingering resentment playing out in public? Wheeler seems perfectly willing to sacrifice 24,000 loyal followers just to stand in solidarity with a player who isn't even on her team. The WNBA as a league seems completely unprepared for these kinds of situations. Unlike other professional sports leagues, the WNBA doesn't have a standardized media training program for its players. This leaves athletes like Wheeler flying blind when navigating complicated fan interactions, especially in this new era of unprecedented attention. So what's happening in the WNBA right now is a perfect storm. Erica Wheeler's tweets have triggered massive backlash from fans who once supported her career, showing us the growing divide between veterans and new fans flocking to the league. This isn't something you see in other sports, and it highlights a serious problem. WNBA players simply aren't prepared to handle this new level of fan interaction and scrutiny. The league is at a crossroads. Wheeler's situation proves that players need proper training on managing their social media presence in this new era. You can't just tweet whatever you want without consequences anymore. The days of the small, tight-knit WNBA community are gone, replaced by mainstream attention that veterans never had to navigate before. When the new season tips off, watch how this tension plays out. Will players adapt to the changing landscape? Will fans give veterans grace as they adjust? The Indiana Fever locker room is about to become ground zero for the biggest transformation the WNBA has ever seen. Everything's changing, and not everyone's ready for it.